Hey, welcome to the After Effects tutorial on how to get this project up and running for you. So if you click OK, if you're using a newer version than CS 5.5, just open up the project. I'm using the 720p version, but you can use either the 1080 or 720, just depending on which style you need to fit your project. So over in the project panel, you'll find Assets, which just has the items that I use in this. I have the audio, which you can use your own audio if you need to, and Precomps, which has the audio edit, loading icon, pixel grid, which is the grid, and the color offset that offsets all the colors to make it look like a monitor. So starting at the top, we got 0, 0. That's where you should begin. And you can see here, it's just your internet search results that came up. All this is editable, and you can change the text however you want it to be. These numbers on the end represent the text or the camera moves that where the camera is stopping. So number 1, this is for the logo and the text reveals. That's the first stop. So 3 different styles, that's the first stop for these, and 3 different styles is the first stop for this one. And then it just goes in order. So 2 would be the second stop, 3, 4, and so on. So you should probably customize these fields to represent what exactly you're trying to achieve. Let's say that you actually want like these lower text items in yours and it doesn't have it like right here, or the other way around, you have it right here and you don't want it. What you're going to need to do is click this little Shy Guy button. You can disable that, clicking the little eye there, or if you would like it on, let's say this one above, you just find where this layer is. Looks like number 73, which is purple. So you find that and you click the optional extra info button. Click that and you got your text there. You can edit and add whatever you'd like. Also, let's say you change this to hello, and then for your internet site you want, let's say, videohive.net. Well, you're going to need to do a few things. First off, this little triangle here that brings up extra options, you're going to need to move that over to be up against the website link. So that's nice. You got the arrow right next to it now. Now we need to change this line to be the correct length. The easiest way to do that is re-click the Shy Guy to hide all the other layers, and the only thing that's left right here is the lines, which is the underlines. I have these little helpful numbers on the side here. So line number 9 is corresponding to number 2 here. You can pull up the scale, and all you need to do is click this left number and dial that down until it's the length of the text. And then you can do that for all the remaining ones until your heart's content with whatever you want here. And then we can hop over to the logo and go to the second stop, which is right here, and you see the text shows up. Okay, so that's like the basics of the basics. If you're going to be using the logo reveal at the end, you will have to hop into these O1 files. So O1 here, it's the Envato logo. Let's say you want a new logo here that's, you know, some cool looking abstract shape here. Yeah, that looks awesome. So you can just turn off or delete the Envato one, and then you got this little animation here, or not animation, but little logo here. And then you can hop into the end logo color, which is the background that's going to be on. You can click the adjustment layer and change either like the background color if you want to do that, or you can bring in your own logo, or if you don't want a gradient in there, you can turn off some of these and dial in whatever you want to be your logo, your background, and should be good. So you can hop into the final logo here, which is number 2, and you see it's updated, and you see the logo pop in, clicked and zoomed out. So that's the basics for the O1s. Now let's go into the final renders. So let's start off with the logo one actually, since we have that open right now. And this is going to be pretty similar to the text version. Let's start off with the mouse. Okay, so if you want to change where the mouse is, you can just click this little mouse layer, which is layer number 12, edit the position of it, or change the rotation, or let's say you want it to be the mouse to be over the text, and you want it to be the pointer, or instead of the pointer you want the hand. So this is what you'd do. You'd change these 2 keyframes, which is the position it's going to be in when the camera's holding on this area. It's just panning down. So what you do is you select those 2 keyframes, move that text or the mouse over the X and Y value, and now that it's over on the top of the text, you'll need to do this opacity. So what I have going on right now is I have an expression that whenever the opacity of this layer is at 100, it's the normal mouse cursor, and whenever it's at 0, it'll change into the hand. So you just track along here until the mouse is over the text, like right here, and you want to just change the opacity to 0. And now it's the hand. And then you'll just want to go along until it eventually falls off of the text and it turns back into a pointer, and just bring that back to 100. Simple enough. And everything else should fall into place. So let's say you moved this track on the mouse where it's going to be. You're going to probably have to move or change or delete where the mouse turns back into a cursor and whatnot. That's the basics of the mouse. I have it rotating as well, so to make it more like a fun animation, I have the mouse rotating into the direction it's going. So that's these keyframes. So let's say you want to extend this part of the animation. You'd select all of these, including the website page, the layer below it, and the camera layer. So all you do is select this group and extend to here. Let's say you wanted, 8 more frames or something. That's all you gotta do, drag all those frames over. And that's your animation. Let's say that you wanted to have it stop at your number 3 stop to be right here. Number 3 stop here instead of down here, the default. So what you would do is you would come into this. This is the first stop, second stop. Your third stop would be right here. You can just simply select both these keyframes, and you would want to grab the Y position and drag up until you found that number 3 spot, and you'll see it just simply drops down 1 layer. And obviously, since it's only going that 1 layer now, there's going to be a problem with the mouse turning into a hand, so you'll have to edit those or delete them, I guess. and that works out pretty well. So with the camera, I have the focal distance changing sometimes, so if you do edit where the position of this text is going to be, like this one went from 2 to the next one down, you might need to change the focal distance to focus in on where exactly the focus of the camera is looking at and what's going to be blurred on the outside. So that's just a heads up. By default, you should be looking at it in a third res, which makes it a lot easier to view. But if you wanted to bump it up to, let's say, full, you can do that. It usually takes a while to load, but a quick way to make it load faster, you can come down to the camera and click this depth field and turn that off, and that way you will have a much better response time and look at it in full res. Also, when you're looking at it in like a third res, like I just had it, obviously the pixel density of this pixel grid on top looks a lot darker than it's going to show up as, just to give you a heads up. So it's not actually this grainy or dark as it's going to be. Finally, let's say you wanted this, I don't know, your in tag here, you wanted to change a few things. What you would do is you click the shy guy again, and it'll bring up all these other layers that are the meat of what's going on. So let's say you wanted to extend it. Obviously the audio won't work anymore because it doesn't go exactly to the music now. So you have to bring in your own music. You can easily just click the shy guy, come to audio, click the unlock, and delete that layer. Let's say you want your logo just to hold instead. You can simply just delete these last 3 layers and it won't turn off. So it'll just hold. A few other notes for the logo. Once it's clicked, you got the little pinwheel coming up. That pinwheel is this loading icon right here. It runs in a little loop here. And then there's this loading gray line. This loading gray line is right here, and that just loads right away. And then after that, we have your logo image coming up. That is right here. And there's also another one that's just extended, because over here in the corner, the logo screen isn't long enough. So it's just behind it, extended. As you can see, it's just scaled up a little bit larger to meet that need. Normally with internet results, you have 2 lines of text, so you'll want to say more text down here. Now if you're having like no explainer text description and you want to turn that off, you'll probably want to move this layer higher for it to be butted up against it more. The way to do that is just drag the null layer up, and then you'll have to drag it up for the ones that follow as well. The easy thing to do would just be select all these green nulls here and just drag them all up. Also, if you do that, all of the camera moves that I have in there will not line up correctly, so you'll need to know your way around After Effects if you're going to do that. So that's basically the logo. Let's jump into the all, which is just the scrolling text. If you run into the issue that I just explained about having to move these higher or lower to fill in the gap, you're going to need to come into the composition and change the web page position. So you're going to make sure it lines up to be where the depth of field is located. This one's really easy. So let's say you have your text come in and you want this one to only be here for 1 second instead of holding on for 3. You can select all these and just shorten it up so the scroll happens quicker. Or let's say you don't want it to hold for, you want to skip one page, one link, I'd say. You can delete these 2 in-between frames and then drag everything over. And now it will skip that one and go to the one following it. Let's see here. Also, if you need to use more time, like right now I only have it going to 20 seconds or so, all you have to do is select all these purple frames and just drag out all those purple frames to wherever you need to go, and you'll have a longer scene, and then eventually the screen will turn off. If you do that, you're going to need to change the position of where the mouse is and where the mouse click is. So you can click U, zoom in, and you see the keyframes here for the position. Alright, all you're going to need to do is move this around, bring it down to where it's going to be. Let's say it clicks right here. And then you just need to go to the layer below it, change that position, bring that down, which should be about the same position as this 3,300. There we go. So let's test it out. Mouse flies in, turns to a hand, it's clicked, perfect. That's basically all. This one's really simple for editing. Finally, let's go to the text version. Text version is very similar to the logo, like I said earlier. So if you need to change where the mouse is going, you click this mouse cursor, click on the Y or the X, drag it around, and if you do that, you'll probably have to change where the opacity changes from a mouse to a cursor. Also, if you want to extend or decrease the amount of time, you can select everything in this little, you can tell that this is like section 2 right here. This is from 1 to 2. You can just drag all this to extend the first scene to be longer, and then the second scene will be really short. If you remember earlier, we changed the position of all of these. If that happens, you're going to need to obviously change the position of probably the page to be in the focus. So you'll probably have to change the position of this. So you just select, like, if you were talking about the 4th stop, you select this frame, this keyframe, and this keyframe, and just position it to where it should be. Try it out, see how it looks. The mouse comes up, clicks it. And obviously, you need to adjust the mouse clicking position now as well. So if you go to the first frame of that, go to the Y position, drag that up, and it should be red now. Great. So these are like the more advanced steps. But yeah, this should be very helpful for people. And if you have any questions or things that you'd think I can improve about this, just shoot me an email on VideoHive, and I'll be sure to add that to an update coming to this file. Thanks.